Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today, we're going to be talking about how to rank up in the new season of Overwatch and how I managed to flex pick back to GM and hopefully offer up some solutions on why you may be stuck at your rank and also how to get out of it. Now, I have done so much research into this over the last couple of years that I feel really confident in trying to explain some ways that you can gain rank and play the system. Because remember, when you play ranked in Overwatch, you're not necessarily looking to improve at the game of Overwatch, you're looking to improve at the matchmaker, and they are two very different things a lot of the time. So the point of this video is to show you win conditions I've had of all different contexts to make you think about things that maybe you hadn't before and see ways to win games that you initially thought were actually impossible. Now, to start things off, I want to talk a little bit about ELO Hell, because if I was to ask you guys in the comments now, what do you think ELO Hell is? The people in bronze, the people in silver, the people in gold, all the way up until masters would tell me for different reasons why their rank is ELO Hell. And the reason for this is because ELO Hell, depending on the circumstances, is the rank that you get to where what you play and how you play it no longer is enough to carry you out of enough games in order to rank up. Now, there are like a million variables to this and they all change all the time. For example, in the Mercy meta, ELO Hell for me was high diamond because honestly I couldn't play that meta to save my life. It drove me crazy, it tilted me. There's all of these different variables, but that was it. And now in this new meta, on different heroes that I play now, my new ELO Hell is towards the top of masters. You also have to bear in mind what heroes you are playing, because if you're a gold Mercy player, optimizing a hero like Mercy could potentially be a lot more difficult than optimizing someone like Tracer. At a rank like gold, if you pick Tracer, hit the right pulse bombs, don't really die, you're going to rank up a lot easier than trying to always have the perfect positioning with Mercy. Now, this is not to say you cannot rank up on just Mercy, but that really shouldn't be the deal anyway, should it? We should be flex picking and taking different heroes and stuff. So there's all of these variables, but if you're stuck at a rank, the reason is you don't make the right decisions to game the matchmaker, and that's really what we're talking about here today. So I want to talk about win conditions, because that's how you rank up, is by identifying, particularly when you want to flex pick, what the win condition of the given game you are in is. Now, flexing and filling is a little bit of an abstract term, because at pro play it really means something very different to what it would mean in matchmaking. Because if you're filling for a team that doesn't know how to play around the hero you fill, there's really not a whole lot of point in doing it. If you're picking Winston to dive in because you're kind of playing a dive comp but you never get healed or the follow-up is never there, then Roadhog might just be the pick for you instead, because you can sustain yourself and get free kills. I actually have a perfect example of this, and I'll put it on screen for you guys now, where I'm in a game on Volskaya, and this is just before I'm promoted to GM. And in this game, we ran a meta comp on the first point. And what happened? We got absolutely rolled. Well, when we moved to second point, I went and played a really bad Lucio. We only had one tank and it was D.Va, which is never really a good idea. We had a Zen on one side of the map, a Mei somewhere else, and a Trace around the back. And even though on the face of things, this should never work, it does, because it's matchmaking. And the win condition of that game was, even though the enemy team have a meta comp, we just surround them, hack the Rhine, and they could never do anything about it. This then makes the enemy team descend into tilt, and we roll them on the next attack. It really is that simple. Now, there's a lot I want to move on to in this video, but I need to make it abundantly clear that if you're wanting to win the game, the first thing you should try to do is coordinate and play with your teammates. Not joining voice, picking bad comps isn't a solution all of the time. It's just in that game that I'm talking about, that was the win condition, was to split and take an unorthodox comp. And I use the wording "this should never happen" because in an organized context maybe it shouldn't, but we're talking about ranked, quick play plus as we like to call it, and sometimes playing it like deathmatch, it should work because it's individual play that's really impacting these games. But you should always be trying to coordinate and play with your team, and trying to just pick something you're good at won't only work, especially if you're playing a map like Attack Anubis first point and you have Ana Zen. If you can't speed past that choke point, no amount amount of carrying on another hero is going to be enough a lot of the time. Now, you're probably going to ask me, how do you identify what the win condition is? And of course, this comes through playing the game a lot. But what I can tell you one thing to do, and this will help you out, and you will be surprised at how bad you play sometimes. I did this myself in order to try and improve at the game. Record your games back. Doesn't matter if you get a bit mad or you think it was someone's fault where you lost a game. Watch that game back and notice what mistakes you made, even if you played good, but what mistakes you did make that could have maybe potentially won that game, regardless of the hero you're playing on. If you died once on Mercy because you were out of position once and you lost in overtime at the end, would you have not dying that extra time make enough difference to win the game instead of losing it? Now, that's a very extreme example, but someone that's playing in Diamond more consistently than someone that's in Platinum, there's probably only a 10% average increase in between them two ranks on the performance that you have. But since matchmaking is get kills, don't die, that's what you need to look back at. Did I die too much? Regardless of whose fault it is, if you should have been healed, maybe you should have been healed, but what's the win condition here? If the win condition is you had to not die, but that was not avoidable, then maybe you need to just go Roadhog and kill things. So now I'm going to show you two opposite ends of the spectrum, and the first one is what I know a lot of you will like to see, and that is actually coordinate with a team and flex picking. So I got into a game that was quite obvious, no matter what I did, picking a DPS, our comp was going to be pretty messy, and it's Gibraltar. So this map is quite difficult to take the first point if you're unorganized, and we had a guy who wanted to play Moira, who cannot heal the dive tanks. At the start of the game, I just spoke to this guy on voice and said, look, could you just play Winston for me and let me play Anna? My Winston's not very good, my Anna is, and I can heal you from a distance, and I think we'll have a lot more success. Now, he went on to choose that Winston pick. I played Anna, we didn't have Moira not healing anyone, and I got enough healing off from a distance, even though she isn't one of my best heroes, in order to create the team play and win out that game convincingly. It's a really good thing when you get into matchmaking, and a great feeling to be able to coordinate and play with people. So this is the perfect example of what I'd like to see you guys try to do when you're trying to win your games, because flexing to GM is possible, it's proven, but your mentality and how you speak to people is really important. So we're going to go to Dorado now. Now, I have a controversial thing to say here because not everyone can do this, but here's another win condition that I had in a game on Dorado. My team were really struggling pushing the first point, and I swapped to Widowmaker, who, I will admit to you now, I am no better than a Diamond Widowmaker most of the time. She is one of my worst heroes. But I hit enough shots in a row, which wasn't a lot, but it was enough to completely help my team roll out the enemy team. The win condition of this Dorado game was go Widow and carry. No amount of me being another tank or as having an extra healer or trying to play for some kind of team wipe was the solution in that game. Simply carrying on a hero that one-shots things was. Now, there's different kinds of win conditions as well. It's not always just pick Widowmaker and hit 1,000 headshots. Sometimes it's take a hero just to eliminate the enemy's best threat. Maybe you want to take D.Va, but you're not very good at it, but you take it because you know there's a soldier that's carrying on the high ground. Removing that threat consistently will win you the game. And up to this point, you'll notice something. I have not spoken about team play at all. And the reason for that is it's few and far between, and sometimes even when you're running a good comp in matchmaking and everyone's happy and communicating, you'll still get rolled because the enemy team will just split with loads of DPS and they will frag you harder than you know how to play that comp in an organized manner. And that's what happens in matchmaking. These win conditions are all over the place. They don't make any sense on the face of things. And playing through matchmaking and realizing and understanding them is how I flex picked to GM. So if you've taken one thing so far in the video, I want you to think about your personal performance every time you play a game. How often are you not in mech as D.Va? Because nearly every D.Va I've ever met in matchmaking is out of mech and feeding way too much. You should be peeling as D.Va. Do you understand the job on the hero you're playing? That's the first thing I want you guys to really think about. And the next thing is mentality, playing with undesirable teammates, and tilt, because I am very used to tilting, guys. I can tell you, if you've watched our stream, it happens occasionally there, and it happens off stream as well. I do get annoyed in game at certain things, and the other day we had a sim on a map that is very undesirable for Symmetra, and I actually picked around this Symmetra, and of course we got absolutely rolled. When trying to express my concern on the second defense about sim not being very good on this massive line of sight on second point Hanamura, this guy told me what his win rate was, and I replied, well, your win rate in this game is 0. Do remember that no matter how good your win rate is, guys, even if it's 70%, that does not justify you playing the wrong pick the other 30% of the time. But there's also, and this is the main point, no point in tilting or getting mad at the person, and I still struggle with this to this day, and it has happened to me and lost me games within the last couple of weeks. You have to be very careful. So when you get these one tricks or undesirable teammates, what do? Well, the first thing you try to do is play around them. That's usually your go-to thing. Try and pick Orisa if you need to, because you have a Symmetra. Try and pick it so that your team comp has Roadhog and Soldier, so they can heal themselves, so that with the Symmetra you can run only one healer, things like that. But sometimes that win condition goes all the way back to the start of this video of there's no teamwork, there's no communication, and no amount of picking around this person in this context is going to win the game. So the solution may be find that win condition. Is the enemy Moira carrying by doing too much healing? Maybe that's who you need to take out. Moira is one of the best heroes in matchmaking right now, especially when we're talking about all these win conditions, because if you play Moira and you don't throw damage orbs and you heal 20% more than the enemy Moira, meaning you get 20% more ultimates, you will win more games on Moira than anyone else. But when you've got a Symmetra on your team and one healer and you're in the flex role, or you're trying to find that win condition, killing the enemy Moira is likely what you need to do. And what heroes are good at that? Well, burst damage, long range damage. Again, Widow, Roadhog. I have seen Winston's do it, but it's extremely difficult for Winston to dive in and get things. And even a hero like Anna, who can anti-nade and deny all that healing and actually make your sim have more value. If you can stop them healing, you only having one healer might be the win condition in that context. So maintaining composure in your mentality is number one in my opinion, and learning the win condition as well is going to win you a lot of games. But you have to be very self-critical, and it's extremely difficult to do, and the only way you will realize that you're messing up is if you record your games and you watch them back. And trust me, as someone that plays quite a high level, I'm not that great, but I play fairly high up. Even when I watch my games back and I think I've played amazing, I will always find tons of mistakes that I could improve on, even if I win the game. And I promise you, that will really help you out. So I hope that these guidelines are enough for you guys to understand finding that condition on winning in a game of Overwatch. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to drop a like, because it really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. You're going to want to hit that bell icon so you get notified when our videos go live. Be sure to have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.